Good morning, welcome back to Planet Doug. Here I am in Planet Doug Studios, aka the Malahayati Hotel in Tanjung Balai, Sumatra. So I'm in Indonesia, and in this video I just wanted to tell the story of getting the 30-day extension to my E-Visa on arrival. So I came into Sumatra with a 30-day visa on arrival. I got it online, so there was no stamp in my passport or anything like that. And then I arrived in Sumatra with my 30-day visa on arrival. And then you can apply for an extension to that, so you can stay for a total of 60 days. And Indonesia recently changed the extension system, the process. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And I guess there's going to be sort of three things I'm going to talk about. Basically, how did it work, good or bad? And then the actual mechanics. So maybe it can be a little bit of a how to do it. And then the main part of it will be the story of exactly what happened to me. So it's mainly going to be like a story time video, but I'm also going to include some practical information about getting your 30-day extension to your 30-day visa on arrival. Of course, we are talking about visas, and visas in any country around the world are very complicated. Depends on what country you're from, what kind of visa you're getting, your history, your background, so many variables. So everything I'm going to be talking about applies basically to me. I have a Canadian passport, and as I said, I have a 30-day visa on arrival, which I applied for using their online website. So that was my situation, and your situation might be entirely different, and what happens to you could easily be entirely different. It could be entirely different depending on where you are in the country. So I happen to be in Sumatra, in Tanjung Balai, and there happens to be an immigration office right here in Tanjung Balai. And everything could be very different for you. So don't take my story as an example of how things are going to go for you. It might go completely different. And if you ask me a question in the comments like, I have a Moroccan passport and I arrived with a 60-day tourist visa that I got in Paris, what is going to happen to me? I'm not going to be able to tell you. I just won't know. All I know is what happened to me. So let's begin. The reason I'm recording this video actually is because Indonesia this year, within the last few months, they changed the system. They changed the way you get a 30-day visa extension. So it's this change, and this is the very first time that I did it using the new policy. So in the past, if you applied for your 30-day visa on arrival online, you can do it right from your computer, right from your smartphone. If you get your 30-day visa on arrival online through the Imigrasi website, then when you are in Indonesia, you could extend it for 30 days completely by yourself. You could go to the immigration website on your phone, sign into your account, locate the record for your current visa on arrival, and then hit the extend button. Fill out the forms, upload the documents, pay the 500,000 rupiah, which is about $32 US, something like that, and it was done. You could do everything online by yourself from anywhere in the country. It didn't matter where you were, and you didn't have to go to an immigration office. So everything was amazing. It was a great system. It was wonderful. You were not restricted in any way at all, and it was amazing. But the good times didn't last, and then this year they announced a brand new policy whereby, okay, you must apply for your extension online. You still do that, but then after you submit your application and pay for it, then you have to go to an immigration office in person for what they call biometrics. And biometrics is when they take your picture and they take your fingerprints. They call that biometrics here in Indonesia. So now it's a two-stage process. Apply online for your extension, then go to the immigration office in person. And according to the announcement of the policy, if you go to the immigration website, look up the details of this new policy, the way I understood it was you applied online, paid for it online, and then within 48 hours, the immigration department, the immigration office will send you an email telling you that you have to go to their office to do biometrics. So my understanding was that you basically apply on your phone, on your laptop, and then you wait. And then you wait within 2 days, they will send you an email asking you, telling you to come in. So that was my understanding of how the process worked. I did say that I was going to give a verdict on it. Maybe I forgot about that. I'll do that right now and basically say that everything worked beautifully. I just came back from the immigration office. That's why I'm a little bit hot and sweaty. I rode my bicycle out there. I'm a little bit wound up. I'm a little bit keyed up from the experience, but I just came back and everything worked beautifully. There was no problem at all. I went in and I was done in about 15 minutes, and then they sent me on my way, and they even gave me a printout. I won't show you the printout, it has all my data on it, but they even gave me a printout of my visa extension with the new date on it. And not only that, I'm pretty sure that in Indonesia, like within the last 3 or 4 years, somebody in the government involved in the immigration office, they decided to make their immigration offices better, more friendly, and offer much better and more expanded customer service. Because I've been coming in and out of Sumatra for a number of years, and I've noticed over these years that the service has just gotten better and better and better and better and better. Every time I go to an immigration office, it's better. Again, they keep improving it. So when you go there now, like I went to the Tanjung Balai office, friendly people, like there were like customer service reps whose job it was to greet me, be nice to me, be friendly with me, ask me what it is they can do for me today, and they bring me to the right place. And then when I'm done, they ask me, oh, how did things go? How did you feel about your time at the immigration office? Was the service okay? I mean, really concerned about customer service. And they're waving, goodbye, thank you for coming. And then they have a coffee outlet there, like with instant coffee and tea and hot water. You can make yourself a cup of coffee while you're waiting. Just way better service than you used to get. So there is a program in place, I think, where they're really trying hard to make the immigration offices better at customer service. So going there is a really pleasant experience. And I applied for my extension yesterday morning. I went there today in the morning, and it was done in 15 minutes, and I was all done. So amazing experience. Everything worked out. Really great customer service, 5 stars across the board. So that is my verdict on the experience. However, there are some quirks in the system. And even though it all worked out in the end, while I was doing it, I wasn't so sure. There was a lot of confusion for me. So starting from the beginning, again, my understanding was submit your application online, and then within 48 hours, they will send you an email. And a key to this system, this is very, very important, is when you apply for your extension, make sure you put in your current address. Because when you apply for your original visa on arrival, you have to put in the name of your hotel in Indonesia, your address in Indonesia. And of course, you will put in the place where you arrive in the country. I flew into Medan, so I put in the name of my hotel in Medan. So when you apply for your visa extension, that address is still on record as your address. And if you leave it that way, then you have to go to the Medan immigration office because that's where you said you're staying. But by then you might be in Bali, like you might have flown into Sumatra. 30 days later, maybe you're in Bali. But if you don't change your address, they're going to tell you you have to go all the way back to Sumatra, all the way back to Medan to go to the immigration office. So when you apply for your visa extension, you have to fill out the form, but the address is already filled in from your previous application. So you have to change it, update it to where you are now and the name of your hotel now. And when you do that, your application goes to the nearest immigration office, the one that is nearest to where you are right now. And that's where you're going to have to go. And in my case, I decided to submit my application here in Tanjung Balai because I knew there's an immigration office right here in Tanjung Balai. If there wasn't one, I would have to travel to another city, right? So it kind of has an effect on your travel plans, which is a bit of a negative thing, because now as you're traveling around Indonesia and then you decide to apply for your visa extension, you have to think ahead because you should be in a city where there is an immigration office when you do your application, and then you have to stay in that city for potentially 3 days. The day of your application, and then 2 days to get the email and go in. So it could be a 3-day process. So now you have to plan ahead. So that was my understanding of the process. And then yesterday morning, I submitted my application for the extension. Everything went fine. My payment was accepted, 500,000 rupiah. And then to my amazement, within 2 minutes, I got an email. Ding! An email from immigration. But the email was confusing because the email said, and I'll read it here, it said, as the next step in the application process, you are required to visit your local immigration office to complete the photo capture procedure. Please ensure that this is done within a maximum of 3 working days from the date of this notification. Failure to comply within the specified time may result in delays in the processing of your application. So the email was completely different from the policy. The policy told me, wait 48 hours and then we will send you an email inviting you. But then the email they sent me, within 2 minutes, it said, you can come in within the next 72 hours. So it implies you can just come in anytime, that you just come in whenever you want to, but you have to do it within 3 days. So now I was confused. I was like, oh, so I can just go in anytime. I just have to make sure it's within 3 days. But the policy said, wait for our email. So I was confused about what the truth was. So that's where I was yesterday. And I was going to go in yesterday, right? Because it was telling me, just come in within 72 hours. So I thought, I'll get it done right away. You know, my application is submitted. I'll go there today and get it over with. But then I thought, well, give it 24 hours. Like my application, give them time for my application to sort of go through the system. just in case something weird happens. So I decided to wait for one day and go this morning, which is what I did. But then I'm on my bicycle and I'm riding to immigration. I know where the office is. I'm on my way there. And then I stop at the side of the road to just look at my phone. I was going to look at Google Maps, make sure I'm heading in the right direction. And while I was doing that, I saw I had just gotten an email from immigration, a second email. So I thought, ooh, that's weird. What is this second email? So I opened up the second email, absolutely panic-stricken, because this email said, "Dear me, we regret to inform you that your application for a residence permit submitted to the Immigration Office of Tanjung Balai has been postponed due to the following reasons." And then it says, "In accordance with prevailing regulations, all required documents must be submitted to proceed with the application process. You are kindly requested to complete the missing documents via the designated immigration application platform." So I was like, oh no, something had gone wrong. For one thing, I didn't apply for a residence permit. I applied for an extension to a tourist visa. And now they're telling me that my application for a residence permit had been postponed because I didn't submit the proper documentation. And they're telling me, well, you better submit all the documents to the proper platform. But it doesn't tell me what those documents are. So I'm like, of course, this is my life. Nothing like this ever works out in my life. Everything goes wrong. And now it looked like somehow or other my application got mixed up. And instead of being an extension for a tourist visa, it had been routed down, the application process for a residence permit, which of course is going to require banking documents to show you have enough income, enough money in the bank. It's going to require reference letters. It's going to require a local sponsor to fill out forms to sponsor you. I mean, it's a much bigger, more complicated process. And it looks like they're going to expect me to do all these things. And now I'm going to have to go to immigration and sort this out. Like, no. I'm not applying for a residence permit. I'm applying for a tourist visa extension. And my application was already accepted. It was going to turn into a nightmare. That's what I thought. And then I got back on my bike and I thought, well, there's nothing I can do. I just got to go deal with it. And then I rode my bike to the immigration office. And then as I was locking on my bike, I looked at the email again. And then I saw another paragraph that I missed the first time around. And the paragraph says, "Please report to Immigration Tanjung Balai at 8th of July, 2025, 10 o'clock for photo and biometric." So now I'm like, what is going on? So now it looks like this is the original email. Like I said, the original process, as I understood it, was within 48 hours, they were going to send you an email giving you an appointment at immigration. That's what I thought would happen. But then they send me an email saying, oh, no, just come in within 72 hours. And then I got in the email giving me an appointment at 10 o'clock today. And I just happened to be going there at 9:30 in the morning. So completely by accident, I was going there just in time for my 10 o'clock appointment. And even though this email says residence permit and it says documents are missing and I have to upload them to the proper website or something, that's what the email says. The other part of the email just says, oh, all we have to do is take your picture and fingerprints. So the email is completely all over the place. It's referring to the wrong visa, the wrong documents, but then it also has this tiny paragraph telling me to come at 10 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, now I didn't know what was going on. So I go into the office. As I said, everybody was very friendly. Everybody was very nice to me. And then I was ushered to a seat. I didn't have to take a number. I didn't have to register. I didn't have to do anything. And a very friendly man just said, "Wait here." And then he went to speak with someone. And then eventually, within a few minutes, a woman at the counter said, "Come on up." And I explained to her why I was there. It was a little bit confusing for me to explain it, but she eventually says, "Oh, well, I'll go talk to my supervisor." And then she went to the back room for a few minutes. And then she came back out, and a man in a very elaborate uniform, clearly a senior member of the office, her supervisor, he came up to me, and then he said, "Can you get out your smartphone?" And I said, "Yeah, I can," because I'd actually shown the woman my invitation email on my smartphone. It says, "Okay, you invited, I have an appointment at 10 o'clock. You send me this email." But she didn't really know what that was. But then this senior officer came out and says, "Oh, can you please get out your smartphone again?" And I said, "Yeah." So she says, "Okay, what we need you to do is go to the immigration website and find your visa application." And I was like, that could be a problem, because I didn't apply on my phone. I did it on my laptop. So lately I've been logging into the website on my laptop. I haven't done it on this particular phone. And the problem here is, this gets so complicated, because of the whole E-VOA problem here in Indonesia. I have multiple phones, and because my main phone was blocked by customs, I had to use my secondary phone for my SIM card. But this was the only phone I had with me, because I didn't think I needed this phone. So I only had this one with me, but all of my passwords are on this phone. My password manager is on this phone. I didn't think it was on this phone. So the guy was telling me, "Oh, in order for us to do this procedure, you need to show us your visa application on your phone, or your visa extension application." And I looked at the guy and said, I don't think I can do that. I can't log into my account. Like, it looks like I was going to have to come all the way back to the hotel, get my other phone, get my password for immigration, go back out there. It was going to turn into this thing. But then he says, no, you don't actually have to log in. All you have to do is go to the immigration website, and you put in your name, your passport number, nationality, and birth date, and then it automatically lists all of your visa applications. You don't have to log into your account to do this. And I said, "Oh, okay." So I did that, and then when I did that, I got this big red box on my phone that said something. I just got a glance at it. It was like, "Notification, application successful." So apparently, in my immigration website account, they were sending me notifications, and before they could proceed with my extension, I had to acknowledge this. So they were sending me these notifications. I didn't know. Nobody told me I was going to get notifications via the website, my account, but I had all these notifications, and then I had to click on them to activate them. So the guy says, "Okay, what you have to do is you click on that button, acknowledging receipt of the activation," and now another button came out. "Okay, now click on that button," and then okay. And then now that I had acknowledged all of these notifications, then he went into the back room and says, "Okay, now I can start the process." So it's like, like I had no idea. Like, in all the emails I'd gotten, all the policies, everything I'd read, this never came up. Nobody said anything about you should keep monitoring your account on imigrasi website, because we are going to send you notifications and you have to acknowledge them in order to get into the system. Nobody said anything about that. But luckily, I was able to do it on the phone I had with me. And then they told me just to wait a few more minutes to have a seat. And this whole time, of course, I was expecting a disaster. I was expecting to be told, oh, now we need this and we need this and we need that. But to my surprise, eventually the friendly young woman came out again and says, oh, just come with me, sir. And she brought me to the back room, and I had to sit in front of a computer, and they opened up my account on their computer, and then they took my picture, and it got inserted into my account, and that was it. No fingerprints, because they did tell me, okay, biometrics, which normally is photo and fingerprints. And I said to the woman, like, fingerprints? Like, no fingerprints? Because I have done this in the past at immigration offices, and it can be a pretty long and complicated process because the way it works, it's a live system. So it takes the photo and it, in a live format, it inserts it into the database. And then you have to do all of your fingerprints one at a time. This one, and then it inserts it. This one, and it inserts it. And if the website goes down or there's a glitch in the Wi-Fi, it gets rejected. And you have to do it over and over and over and over again until you finally get it inserted. So I was expecting fingerprints to be a little bit complicated, but she says, no, no fingerprints, only a photo. That's it. So once the process was ready to go, all I needed to do at immigration was sit down for like 15 seconds, click, okay, you're all done, sir. So that was the only reason I had to go to the immigration office, was for them to take my picture, which makes no sense at all. There was no questions, no interview, no interrogation, no extra documentation, nothing at all. It was just a formality. Come in, sit down, take a picture. But, as I said, in the end, everything worked. And everybody was really nice, everybody was really friendly, amazing customer service. But none of it actually made any sense to me, where they told me originally, wait 48 hours to get an email from us, but then they sent me an email saying, no, just come in anytime within the next 72 hours. And then they send me another email saying, come in at 10 o'clock on July 8th. And then when I got there, they says, oh, you were supposed to do something with all these notifications on your immigration account on our website, which I didn't know about, so I had to do all of that. And then all they needed to do was take my picture, no fingerprints. And then they printed out my extension. So, I don't know, it's a little bit like driving blind, where you just hit the gas and go. Just close your eyes and just go. You don't know what's happening. You don't understand any of the procedure, but it doesn't matter. Just hit the gas, move forward. All these things are going to happen. You won't understand any of those things. None of them will make sense. It's all going to be contradictory. But when the dust settles, you'll get the extension. So it will work out in the end. Just go forward, do whatever it is you need to do, and it will all work out in the end. So, yeah, I think that's it. That is my story for the 30-day visa extension approval. And yeah, it's all done. And now I can relax. I have another 30 days until I have to worry about visas once more. So that's it. Shutting down here on Planet Doug Studios. Enjoy the rest of my cup of coffee. And as always, see you in the next video.